I rise to speak today on the 16th anniversary now of the National Apology to the Stolen Generations and the Closing the Gap annual report. I was here in Parliament House in 2008 when Prime Minister Kevin Rudd offered the formal apology to Australia's Indigenous people, and with the special focus on the stolen generations, on behalf of all of us in the nation. It was an honour and a privilege to be present alongside so many people from my community in Newcastle. And it was very important that the Labor government acknowledge that those laws and policies of successive parliaments and governments had resulted in the forcible removal of Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander children from their families, and those actions had inflicted profound grief, suffering and loss on those, our fellow Australians. The apology was a powerful recognition of the destruction caused to families and communities at the hands of former governments, and it acknowledged the very real and ongoing pain and trauma caused by forced removals. Last week I was reading and reflecting on the life of one member of the Stolen Generations, Dr. Lowitja O'Donoghue, a trailblazing Aboriginal woman, leader who died on Kaurna country surrounded by her loved ones just last Sunday. Like so many people in the House, we grieved her passing. Like so many Aboriginal people of her time, Lowitja's life was as extraordinary as it was heartbreaking. Lowitja's mother, Lily, was a Yankunytjatjara woman, and her father, Tom O'Donoghue, was a first-generation Irish Australian. At age 2, she was taken from her mother and placed in a mission home in South Australia. Her name was anglicised and she was prohibited from speaking her own language. There was a harsh discipline regime and no love, and like many Aboriginal children the country over, she was raised to be a servant. Without a birth certificate, the white missionaries gave her the birth date of 1st of August, and for those that don't know, that's the horse's birthday in Australia. It was the day that she celebrated throughout her life. And I can tell you from my time living in Fitzroy Crossing up in the Kimberley, where time and time again I came across people's births registered as the 1st of August. It says something about those times, but let's not kid ourselves that they were that long ago. And at age 16, Lowitja was sent to Victor Harbour as a servant for a large family where she served for 2 years until she fought to train as a nurse. And when the matron at the Royal Adelaide Hospital refused because she was Aboriginal, she took her battle to the State Premier and anyone else in government who would listen. She went on to become the first Aboriginal nurse, the first Aboriginal person named a Companion of the Order of Australia, and the first to address the UN General Assembly, and the first chair of ATSIC, overseeing its most successful years, including leading very complex negotiations with the then Prime Minister Keating following the High Court Mabo decision. Lowitja did go on to be reunited with her mother as an adult, following a trip to Cooper Pedy, where she was working with the South Australian Department of Aboriginal Affairs. Her biographer, Stuart Rintol, described how not long after arriving in Cooper Pedy, she heard a group of people sitting outside the store saying, "That's Lily's daughter." And from then she learnt that her birth name was Lowitja, that her mother was a heartbroken woman living in poverty in Unundana, that she had had 5 children taken from her. And in the weeks that followed, Lily waited for her daughter in the outback town of Unundana, staring off into the desert. The reunion at the age of 30 was not an easy one. There was tension and there was a language barrier, and these are stories repeated across the nation. Rintol writes that she would later talk of their reunion as a lesson in the limitlessness of hope and the strength of patience. Let me say that again, the limitlessness of hope and the strength of patience. So many First Nations people have demonstrated that limitlessness of hope and strength of patience over and over and over again. And the national apology was one such moment because, of course, apologies, they're never the full stop in the process. They're just really the very start. Each year as we mark this anniversary, it is a timely reminder of just how much work we still have to do as a country, as a parliament and as a community to help right the wrongs of the past, to address and improve the inequalities and injustices that remain and to help heal the ongoing pain and trauma passed down from generation to generation.